welcome to Let's Just Do This. I'm Margaret Wallace-Duffy and I'm alongside my handsome co-host, Mr. Todd Miller.
Welcome and good to be back again.
It sure is. And today we are here in studio with an amazing guest that I cannot wait to share with you. Not only because it's somebody that I know and have the opportunity to link arms with professionally, but someone who really is bringing two different types of practices together that is making a massive difference. So let me take a minute to introduce Gabrielle Allison. Now Gabe is a registered dietitian and a certified yoga instructor and a teacher of a program called I Am Hungry, Mindful Eating. Now, a couple of years ago, she discovered the parallels between two mindfulness-based practices, yoga and mindful eating. She's merging those two practices together in a powerful way to help people make peace with food and their body. Now, if that is not something that all of us need and can relate to, I don't know what is. Gabrielle, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
You know, it really fires me up when I get to see a professional like you, a registered dietitian who has had years of experience in private practice, in clinics, in hospitals, with athletes. You've been an athlete yourself. To not only shift gears at a point in your career, but to amplify the knowledge you have and make it that much better for others because of the experience you've had. You've noticed and told me time and time again that the relationship with food is something that people struggle with. And as a dietitian, being just focused on food wasn't serving people. Can you talk a little bit about why this shift happened in terms of wanting to look at mindful eating, and then we'll talk in a bit about the yoga piece.
Okay. So I, over the course of many years, I've been a dietitian for almost 35 years now, so love the field of nutrition and loved helping people meet their goals, their health and nutrition related goals. My motto always was slow, sustainable changes over time. That to me is, was a sustainability of behavior change. But what I was finding is, and I always try to draw in that mindful piece, the mindset of eating, but it wasn't enough, I found. People, we are so much more than what we eat, and we need to really take in the whole picture, the mental, the emotional, the social reasons why we eat. And we're meant to eat for all kinds of reasons. Like we don't just eat just for fuel. But I find that, and this has been going on like even since I started, or probably even before, that our culture, it's very diet obsessed. It's food abundant. We're in a very food abundant culture as well, a very food abundant society, and very weight focused. And I think what that has done to people, or for people, is really disconnected them from tuning in to listening to their bodies and what they need. So we've become very reliant on the outside world to tell us how to eat. And as we all know, there's just so much out there and so much confusion and so many different sources of information that people, they get lost, I think. And this is what I have found. So people keep coming on and off, going back and forth on various types of diets and kind of getting lost and losing that connection. So with the mindful piece, the mindfulness piece, but mindfulness-based practices are basically just to help us gain awareness of just helps us stop and gain awareness of what we're thinking, what we're doing, and then what we can do to serve ourselves better. So with mindful eating, a good little nutshell definition would be eating with intention and attention. So the intention is to feel better and really more of a self-care kind of focus. The attention, we're placing attention on purpose and without judgment, which the judgment piece is a really powerful piece that you might have heard lately about how self-compassion is really the foundation to transformation, as opposed to the harsh grind of I have to do this and look at me, I'm not good enough, and that kind of attitude. So what it does is it brings awareness allows us to become aware of our physical sensations. So that in this case it would be hunger and fullness, and allows us to become aware of all the other non-physical drives that fuel our eating decisions. So that's our thoughts, feelings, behaviors, patterns that are all coming, from inside and outside. And then the environmental triggers, right? So it just allows us to pause and notice them without judgment, and then allow us to create choices so that we don't have to do things just because we think that we should. We bring in the decision based on what we feel serves us the best. So I use a program called it's actually Am I Hungry Mindful Eating programs, and I wove in the Am I Hungry Mindful Eating and Yoga, which I was trained in recently over the past year, so that it brings in our awareness of our thoughts, feelings, behaviors, and allows us then to make the choices, whatever that could be. So the other the piece of that is I can even show this mindful eating cycle that I use,
Right.
which allows us to then look at why we eat, when we eat, what we eat, how, and then how much, and where we invest our energy in the whole process. So we're not looking only at what we're eating and even the how part. We're looking at the decisions that we make right from before we even eat all the way to what we're doing after we eat. So it's a whole cycle of decision points.
There's two things that really stood out for me there. You talked about informed choices and information, and there's so much misinformation out there about what constitutes nutrition, especially with commercials that are running, and they send little triggers to our body to say, oh yeah, I really need that triple burger right now. And it really isn't providing you with much in the way of nutrition. And you're talking about mindfulness, and there's so much mindlessness that goes on, where we sit down with a bag of Doritos and we eat the whole thing, so it doesn't provide us with any, but it's just almost like it's like you're an automaton and you're just putting them in.
Yeah, so it's the autopilot thing that we work with. So it's really just exploring what are your triggers, what are your drivers, because a lot of people aren't aware of that. They're not even aware of their physical cues. And so that's the other thing, is that tuning into our physical cues. It's not to say that we should only eat when we're hungry, because we do eat for other reasons. It is if we're eating for all those other reasons solely, like if we're using food as a way to cope with emotions, stress, anger, whatever, then there's going to be a problem, right? That also disconnects us from knowing when are we actually really hungry and when are we full. Everything just kind of gets mishmashed, So the first step would be, tuning into the hunger fullness signals, because really food is the best way to meet. Food is our best way to meet the need for hunger, to physical hunger, whereas other ways of coping with emotions and all the other reasons we eat are best served by other ways. So this is a way also to notice how else can we deal with our emotions. When we may want that brownie or that ice cream, it might actually be meaning that I want some love, I want comfort, I want companionship.